Michigama. That is my trail name. Michigama is actually a Chippewa word. It means big lake. So I think you can guess where I'm from in the United States. That would be, yep, that's right, the state of Michigan. Michigan is actually the shortened version of that word. Michigama means big lake. Those big lakes were bestowed to us when those glaciers came down about 10,000 years ago, then receded and melted, leaving those nice, beautiful waters behind, essentially forming my beautiful state that I come from. I like to think my state has formed me as well, but we're not here for a geography lesson about the state of Michigan, although I could talk about that all day. No, we're here to talk about me getting on a plane in Detroit, Michigan, flying across the Atlantic Ocean, flying into Paris, Charles de Gaulle Airport, taking a whole bunch of trains down to just the border of France and Spain, where I'm going to start something called my Camino. Now, this Camino is called Camino Francis, to be exact. It's one of many different paths that take you into Santiago. Santiago has a cathedral there where St. James was reported to have been buried. And so many people take what we call a pilgrimage, which is a spiritual journey to Camino de Santiago. And so this is my first installment of many that will document my particular Camino, my particular pilgrimage across the country of Spain, which is a little under 500 miles that I walked here in November and December of 2021. So thank you so much for coming. And if you're curious who this beautiful girl is in the picture, her name is Evangeline the Destroyer. Evangeline is my hiking buddy when I'm here in my state, walking all the beautiful trails that we have as well. So if you get a chance, come up and visit the state of Michigan. It will not disappoint you. So thank you so much again for stopping in, and let's begin. So on the train that I took to actually get from Charles de Gaulle Airport, which is located outside of Paris, you have to go and take a train down to actually get to Paris. And then from Paris, you get on a different train that'll take you down to Bayonne, France. So that's essentially what I had to do. I had to hop on a couple different trains on my first day of travel, actually after flying a very long Atlantic flight from Detroit, Michigan into Paris to begin with. So one of my first welcoming committee members that greeted me was this pickpocket on one of those trains from in Paris. So I had a fanny pack. I had absentmindedly tried to purchase a ticket. I didn't zip it up all the way. The first thing I did when I walked into the subway car was I felt a bump from him. That was him opening up the outer zipper of my fanny pack all the way. And then he bumped into me again, but this time I felt a tug because I actually clip my wallet to my fanny pack as well, and then my fanny pack is actually clipped to my person. And I thought this was a good enough system, but this pickpocket, who, thank you, I reevaluated after my encounter with him, but I wanted to give him a shout out. Thank you so much, Mr. Pickpocket, for making my first trip into Paris so exciting. So after all that excitement of actually hopping on a train from Charles de Gaulle into Paris and then another train from Paris down to Bayonne, I finally arrived that evening, and it was beautiful. It was stunning walking through the streets that night, but I just quickly hurried to my Airbnb, where I woke up in the morning because I had enough time to actually explore a little bit of Bayonne, and mostly I came across this beautiful cathedral. So I hope you enjoy. So this is the train station. I mean, look at how it's built. Look at the architecture of it all. It was so thoughtful. When you walk into the train station, you're obviously waiting for the train from Bayonne into Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, or SJPDP, if that's a little bit too much of a mouthful for you. And that actual train, you're going to walk down into like the basement that'll take you under that first initial railroad track. And then you come up into the next, gosh, what is it called? Train station platform. And that's where the next train is going to come in. And what's really interesting is that you're sitting there with your backpack and people are coming up to you like, oh, you're a pilgrim, you're a Pellegrino. And the most disappointing part about that first initial interaction with the fellow Pellegrinos that I would initially start my journey with was that I just simply didn't speak their language. I had every intention of learning Spanish when I started this journey, but I juggle a few businesses and I just ran out of time to even just get the most basic of Spanish learned. So that was probably my biggest regret right off the bat, is that, there were so many people that wanted to walk up and connect with me and I just wasn't able to. So for the most part, initially in this journey, it was actually a very isolating, very quiet journey, simply because there was that huge language barrier right off the bat. I think this was the first oh my gosh, I'm really here moment when you're walking into the pilgrim's office. You're going to get your pilgrim's credential, which you see right here. And then you can also purchase your shell as well. That's that beautiful shell that you're going to see on everyone's backpack as you're walking along also. But really, that was like the first moment where I was like, oh my gosh, I am really here. I'm really starting this incredible journey. A journey that's been on my bucket list since I was a very young college student. And it's just something I can't believe I've actually done now and I'm getting to share with all of you. So night in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. This is the night before my big journey. I met a whole bunch of really interesting Pellegrinos here that I'm actually going to go out on this evening and have a wonderful meal with. Regrettably, I didn't get a selfie from them, and I'm kind of like kicking myself. So a lot of them were actually GAP students from France. One was from Quebec, Canada, who was trying to figure out if he wanted to continue his medical degree or not. And there was a charming gentleman from Germany as well. And so these are the Pellegrinos that I'm going to start my journey out with. Some of them have actually been already hiking their pilgrimage through France. So they had just stopped in to Saint Jean for a few days to kind of recoup and continue on with their pilgrimage. So this is the evening before of my Camino in 2021, and a lot of excitement that night, some trepidation, and though I was absolutely floored, I had already met so many incredible people along my journey, which I was very grateful for, even though I had kind of had this idea that I was going to be pretty alone after my initial encounter on the train station and that communication gap that I was experiencing. But no, I met some lovely English-speaking Europeans and Canadians that were very accommodating and lovely people to have dinner with that night as well. So essentially, I'm so excited. I remember, like it was yesterday, just this feeling of excitement and wonder and a little bit of trepidation, like wondering what I got myself into, if I was going to be a strong enough hiker slash pilgrim, because, I wasn't in the best shape. My mother had passed the year before. I'd gained, a lot of weight starting this pilgrimage, and I was just wondering if I had it in me to hike over those big tall mountains I was looking at in the distance. So my next installment is actually going to be that hike over the Pyrenees Mountains. So I hope you come back and come and visit me again.